everybody. Let's go Niners. My name is Jason Aponte. What's up, 49ers faithful? Jason back, and I am here to answer any questions that you guys have that have nothing to do with punters, any sort of kickers, anything like that. But let's talk about what happened, what we saw today with the 49ers versus the Raiders. So I think what we should first talk about is what's going to happen with Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance in this two-quarterback system, right? And I think that we got a glimpse into what happened. All right, here we go. Let's go. So I think instead of talking about the quarterbacks, let's talk about the punter situation. This should be a two-punter situation. And I don't know, Mitch Wishnowsky probably should have sat for 2 years so he could develop. Because in year 3, all of a sudden in a preseason game, he seems to have put it together. No, listen. 4th-round pick on a punter, egregious. Never will live up to that. I don't care how many preseason kicks there is. I'm never going to let this live, and I will die on this hill. But let's talk about what happened early. I know you guys want to talk about quarterbacks. So Jimmy Garoppolo comes out, and this isn't so much about Taysom Hill and Drew Brees, because that wasn't exactly what we saw today. You saw 2 plays with Trey Lance. You saw a few with Jimmy Garoppolo. I have a concern, but I also kind of understand what we're seeing. The concern that I see most of the time is, how are both of these guys supposed to develop any sort of rhythm, right? How is Trey Lance supposed to develop a rhythm? How is Jimmy Garoppolo supposed to develop a rhythm if they're coming on and off the field, right? That's one. But on the other side, how hard is it to defend this running game with Trey Lance on the field? Which begs the question, why not just turn it all the way over to Trey Lance? But that's not my decision. It seems very firm that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the starter. But something about this, even if Kyle Shanahan at halftime said probably not is what you're going to see, there's still going to be a subset of package plays for Trey Lance. So that's really what's going on here. So I'm interested to get what you guys are thinking about it. But for me, I think that you got a really good glimpse of what it's going to look like in week 1, as opposed to what, some sort of dress rehearsal where Kyle kept everything to the chest. I think that he really wanted to put some of that emotion today. Jimmy Garoppolo had a rushing touchdown. Trey Lance had a rushing touchdown. But it's so deadly how the running game looked with Trey Lance under center. Again, you saw it on the second touchdown. He's attacking all 4 principles. When the ball's in his hands at the mesh point and there's Jalen Hurd running across or Deebo Samuel, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, and he has a chance to take that and pull it out and pass it. So now you're on 4 principles, and you are putting pressure on the defense. So this is going to be insane going forward. Defenses are going to have to prepare for it, and I don't want to hear, the defenses will know what to do with that. No, you won't. You really won't know what to do with that because of how potent the Shanahan running game is. This isn't some fly-by-night thing like the Wildcat that the Dolphins used to run or anything that can be solved. It's about executing, reading things properly, and trusting what Shanahan has put in place. So this isn't the same thing. This isn't something that'll be figured out. Sure, you could probably slow it down, but you're not going to outright stop this running game, honestly, at this point. Let me just take some quick questions. Let me see what we got. A lot of questions. Thank you for everybody who is in here right now. If you haven't, like this video, subscribe to the channel. That'll help me out a bunch. And the drops are real frustrating. Yes, I don't know what to say about this at any point right now, because it's not just one person. It's not like it's, just Jalen Hurd or it's just Jawan Jennings. It's almost everybody, and I don't know what to say. Kyle Shanahan went to Wes Welker during practice, I want to say this week, saying, your guys better stop dropping these passes, and they kind of worked on that, but it's not really translating into games. And I know that the knock was Trey Lance is throwing the ball too hard, but it seems like he's learning touch and he's taking a little bit off of it right now. So that Jawan Jennings drop, that one was egregious because it was right there in his hands. Jalen Hurd, that one, he had 1 or 2 in this game. It was actually good to see Jalen Hurd out on the field. As much as I've given him, whatever, crap for, he actually played today. We're going to see how he comes out of this game, but the drops didn't help. And it's weird. I don't know what to do because there is no real solution to it. You still have to throw the ball to those guys, get them going, but it's tough to say right now with what's going on with the drops, and they are really frustrating. Trey Lance's numbers would look strikingly different if there weren't any drops. Let's say we took 5 drops away, his numbers are different, let alone all 9. So, I don't really know what to say about it. And my concern with Jalen Hurd was less about the drops and more about what I saw when I was watching him in camp. Lack of explosion, lack of separation. A lot of the things that he had open were open due to play call, scheme, things like that. For this X factor that he is right now, he just seems to be a guy who's a little bit limited. And if he's dropping passes now at this point, on top of all of his health concerns, you could be the 6th receiver, but don't tell me with a straight face that you guys think that he's going to contribute right away, because Trent Sherfield is miles ahead of him. Miles. If you notice today, Brandon Ayuk didn't play, but Trent Sherfield was actually running with the ones. That's how well he's been. And he's shown that all through camp, not only by just practicing, but by actually contributing. And that's the thing. So I understand Jalen Hurd was a 3rd-round pick. You got to make this work because that looks really bad. But at the same time, you have to kind of know when it's time to cut bait. We'll see what happens with the 53. I suspect that he's going to make the roster. I wouldn't keep him, but I suspect that he will be on the roster. So let me see. Let's take some other punters or people too. No, they're not. They aren't they aren't people. Okay, let's keep going. You know what? I want to address something real quick. I'm having a blast, and everybody who's having fun with me about the punters thing, I think it's hilarious. But there are people that are dead looking me in the face on Twitter and telling me that a 4th-round punter, that was the right pick. It's year 3, and he had 3 good punts in a preseason game, and you're telling me you're taking your victory lap off that? That's pretty bad. Just, don't want to keep piling on onto the same thing as well, too. So, Ambry Thomas has been really disappointing. Yes, absolutely. I don't know. You can see some of the things that they like, right? He can play in man. They're trying to turn over to man. That's what Ambry Thomas did well. But what I noticed when I watched this film in Michigan, and I picked who would you rather cut, Gallman or Hurd. Give me 1 second, Tony. I'll get right to that. When I watched Thomas in Michigan, even in his best games, when he would get beat, he would just tackle the receiver and just knock him down. And there was plenty of times that he got beat. And this was a game that I cherry-picked as his best game against Michigan State. There are no receivers from Michigan State that are in the NFL. If you really want to see a whipping in 2019, watch Chase Claypool from Notre Dame give him a nice little whipping. I'm concerned. I feel like that 3rd-round pick was, hey, we have to take a cornerback in some round, and Ambry Thomas just happened to be the guy. Lenore is far ahead of him right now at this point. I mean, you would have a tough time right now arguing that Dante Johnson isn't better than him. Seriously. And that's not even me being a joke. And that's nothing against Dante Johnson. But when you invest that high of a pick in Ambry Thomas, and someone like Dante Johnson is probably playing better than you right now, that's not good. Listen, he took the year off last year. Let's give him all of those things. But as of right now, he hasn't really shown much. And that's the problem. Tony, who would you rather cut, Gallman or Hurd? Whew, man, that's tough. Right now, between those two, Gallman offers more. And in pass protection, and this regime has shown that they care about pass protection, i.e. Tevin Coleman sticking around for as long as he did on this roster. Gallman is a safe guy, someone who, if pushed into duty, will play well. Jalen Hurd, we don't know anything. Like I said earlier, I was on a podcast with Nothing But Niners. Flip Jalen Hurd's football card over. He has 2 touchdowns against the Dallas Cowboys. He has 2 catches on 11 on 11s, and he has 3 catches today and 2 drops. That's Jalen Hurd's career. Wayne Gallman's been in this league, played well, and played solidly, and does the things that this regime likes. If you're telling me between those two, I'm cutting Jalen Hurd and letting him go somewhere else. God bless him, and if he puts it together, go ahead. But I'm not willing to take that risk on the roster, especially when someone from this defensive line, which is stacked, is going to lose a position because Jalen Hurd makes this roster. That's the best way I can put it. There are so many good defensive linemen on this team, and you saw it at the end of the game, that one of them is not going to make it, and one of them is going to catch on, whether that's Zach Kerr or one of these guys. The defensive line is so deep. So this regime, who prides itself on drafting inside out, is about to let someone from the inside walk away because they want to figure out what's going on with Jalen Hurd. That's a risk I'm not willing to take. So yeah, I don't know, man. Let's see. Let's keep going. Let's see. Thank you, Tony, for the contribution. I appreciate you, bro. As usual, Detroit versus everybody. Don Burr, what's up, bro? Did you get a chance to look at what's coming up for you guys with Trey Lance and the zone read and what your defenders are going to be doing when they're just chasing guys who are running past them. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. I'm jacked for week 1 now. I mean, that defense, Godspeed. And I don't want you to go anywhere, though, either. So after week 1, when the 49ers beat the Lions, I just want you to pull back up in week 2 and still hang out with us because you're part of the 49ers Twitter, YouTube community. You mean that much to all of us because you're everywhere. So Detroit wins week 1. I'm glad you're sticking on brand, man. I definitely don't want you to change that up at all. So what else? What else did I see today? Man, it's going to be really hard right now because we were going through the 53. There's going to be a lot of great players that are going to be let go. And that's just how good this roster has been built, or how well this roster has been built. I apologize. So, do you want to talk about Jimmy Garoppolo? I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo today, it seemed like in the first drive, that's exactly what they wanted to do against Detroit, at least to start. You know, you see a lot of Jimmy, then Trey. And then if you notice in the second drive, 1, 2, 3 passes in a row. 1 was a drop and 2 were completions. They seem to try to get Jimmy Garoppolo into a rhythm. That's the question that I have. How much of a rhythm can you actually get into only being on the field for a certain amount of plays, in and off the field? You know, that's the stuff that kind of concerns me. Listen, Kyle Shanahan knows better than I do. And if he thinks he can make it work, he can make it work. But I just know that Jimmy Garoppolo seems to work better in rhythm. And you might not be doing him a service by doing all this. But at the same time, the upside that Trey Lance possesses in this run game without even throwing the ball is too high, too hard to defend. You'll never be able to defend all 4 principles while he's on the field because you're going to be standing flat-footed for too long. And by the time you make a decision, someone's going to be running by you. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Gab, let's get in here. Let's talk about it. Enough Jimmy talk. Let's discuss Mitch Wishnowsky. I'm glad that my brand has kind of changed over into this now because I'm going to have a lot of fun with this year. You guys are not going to let any sort of good Wishnowsky punt fly by. I like it. I think it's hilarious. I'm going to roll with it. Just don't seriously come to me and tell me that you really think that was a good pick. If you want to have jokes with me, that's cool. But when people are like telling me, yes, this was a good pick, year 3 is the year for punters. Well, he probably should have sat for 2 years. And I don't know, maybe we should have a 2-punter system. And if the 49ers were all the way in on Mitch Wishnowsky, why did they bring in punters to test out? Is that something you want from your 4th rounder? Could have picked a tackling dummy as a 4th rounder and had more of an impact than Mitch Wishnowsky's had. But hey, let's go. Goff is better than Jimmy. I won't agree with that, but I could see the argument for it. I won't agree with that. I think that both of them have been helped by their play callers. Both of them kind of live in the same area. I'll say this. I think Goff has a little bit more arm talent, but I don't know. I can't say he's better. I can't say that. My 49er fandom wouldn't allow me to say that. That's it, honestly, at this point. But Caesar, in retrospect, Trey Lance or Justin Fields, I'm not making this decision right now after a few preseason games. That would be short-sighted of me. Like, you guys know my evaluation. I wanted Fields, but that doesn't mean that was right. And I'm really not ready to make any sort of statement after 3 preseason games. That would be unfair. And also, in retrospect, would probably look foolish. Plenty of guys have lit it up in the preseason and gone on to do nothing. Plenty of guys who have done nothing in the preseason and gone on to be Hall of Famers. Too early to call all that. But this will be a discussion that is had the entire time that Trey Lance is in the league. So I will say that, at least. I'm going to take the easy answer and try to stay away from that. But you guys know my love for Justin Fields. But I still can't make that statement just yet. I really can't, because there's no way that you can know after a few preseason games. Let's see when bullets start flying. Let's see when game plans are implemented, when guys get comfortable and get reps. Then we'll have a better way to judge that. Hopefully, Halloween, you'll get to see both of them on the same field. But I can't make that decision right now, honestly, at this point. So it's tough. Like I said, I wanted Justin Fields, but I can't sit there and just say that right off the bat. So let's take some more questions real quick. Batman or Superman? Amin, it's Batman. Do you see it over the shoulder over here? It's all Batman. Superman is an outdated character who has no weaknesses except for a green rock. Give Batman 24 hours to prepare for any sort of opponent. I got my eyes on Batman winning any sort of battle. So who do you think will start week 1? Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo starting week 1. But what does that mean? What does a starter mean? Does that mean he's going to take an entire drive? Are we going to see what we saw in the first drive with Jimmy and Lance? I don't know. It almost feels a little bit like Tevin Coleman being the starter in 2019, but Raheem Mostert actually taking all of the carries. So I don't know. But as of right now, I'm going to say on August 29th, I think Jimmy Garoppolo is the starter. So yes, absolutely. You sound like you're just regurgitating what every analyst says. Yeah, that's fine. I have to take the safe bet. Why would I put myself out there with a wild take right now and turn myself into Stephen A. Smith so I could be cold take later on? I'm trying to be level-headed, and I love Justin Fields, but I'm not regurgitating what any analyst says. Any smart person would know that after 3 preseason games, you cannot evaluate at all either quarterback and say for certain who's going to be better. It's dumb. I don't think that that's the right point. Nope, at this point, Trey feels like a project. I don't know, man. What I noticed today with Trey Lance was he worked his progressions. That's something that Jimmy Garoppolo struggles with. The problem is Jimmy Garoppolo's in year 8. Trey Lance is only taken 3 preseason games. He works his progressions. He did it against the Chargers. Maybe he needs to work them a little bit faster, but he works the progressions. And that is the part that I'm really excited about. The other thing is the situational drills. He struggled with that in camp. We saw it. He didn't remember how much time was left, how many timeouts. He's been manufacturing drives at the end of the half and getting points out of it. The kid's moving in the right way. And yes, I am absolutely excited about him. I don't feel like he's much as a project as anything. Yep. So let's see. Do you think we'll see a defensive package with Tart, Ward, and Hufanga on the field at the same time? I'm glad you brought this up. Jimmy Ward didn't play today, and the 49ers came out in a 3-safety look. It was Tart, Hufanga, and Wilson, if I'm not mistaken. And that's impressive. And I think that just speaks to the versatility of all 3. We know Jimmy Ward can play slot corner. We know Hufanga, they trust Hufanga to be single high. And Tart is all over the field. He can do whatever you want. Do you need him to be, cover somebody? Do you need him to be at the line of scrimmage? That sort of stuff is invaluable. And there were rumors of Hufanga taking will linebacker spots or snaps. That speaks to versatility, and they trust him in that way. So I wouldn't be surprised if you saw that. I really wouldn't. So that's a good point, Jesse. Absolutely. Jaeger, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate the show. Let me see. Let's get through some other one. Hufanga hurt, Hasty. Let's go. My prediction for the 53 is that Jermichael Hasty is actually going to be put on the practice squad. But unfortunately, 49er fans, that means that someone's going to pick him up. You just saw J.K. Dobbins go down. You just saw the Rams trade for Sony Michel. There's definitely going to be a team that is going to look at him and want to pick him up. I seem to remember the 49ers telling people not to report on Hasty as much because he was doing so well and they were trying to sneak him onto the practice squad. So I think they're aware of it is all too. I just think that what separates Gallman and Hasty is Gallman is great in pass pro and Hasty has those ball security issues, which Kyle Shanahan does not like. Remember what happened to Matt Breida. And again, certain guys can get away with it. Certain guys can't. Right now, for my money, I think that Hasty becomes a practice squad candidate, but that doesn't mean that he's going to be on the team because someone will surely snatch him up because I do think he's a good football player. He just needs to figure out the ball security thing as well, too. Let's see. How much y'all want to bet Hasty going to go to the Seahawks? Maybe, but, Carson, Penny, DJ Dallas, Alex Collins, they've got 4 guys there, so it depends on how they're building their roster. I mean, I know the joke, any 49er that gets cut is going to end up being a Seahawk. So, I mean, I could see it. But, we'll see. Elijah Mitchell seemed to blow it. Yeah, that's tough. Elijah Mitchell is in camp, and when I was at camp, I've been banging the table that the only receiving back that's better than him on this team is Kyle Juszczyk, and Kyle Juszczyk's a fullback. But at the same time, missing that assignment on that one play with Trey Lance, those sort of things, he's already kind of behind the 8 ball with the injury. I don't know. I mean, as safe as I thought he was, maybe he's not. Maybe Mitchell is the one who goes to the practice squad. It's going to be interesting to figure that out. But if Elijah Mitchell goes to the practice squad, he's getting picked up. And the same thing goes for Hasty. I think they've done too much in college for people to just let that swing by. And as I mentioned, with all the injuries, one of these guys will end up on another roster. I'm fairly certain of that. When was the last time Hasty fumbled? It was the Chiefs game. But he did it in camp constantly. He even dropped passes, but he fumbled 2 or 3 times that they were attributed to Trey Lance. It was really hasty on exchanges. So maybe he's cleaned it up. Maybe he hasn't. I'm just remembering what I saw. So he hasn't had the last 2 games. That's true. And he played a bunch against the Chargers. But yeah, that's where I saw him with the fumbles. Haha making the team. I don't know. Jared Maiden kind of put himself back on the map with his performance against the Chargers. Clinton Dix felt like a camp body. And Tart playing and then getting a little dinged up and coming back is a great sign. We're going to find out how he came out of this game. We're going to find out how the toe is. But I think I would rather keep a defensive lineman than Haha right now at this point, especially considering what, Marcel Harris is as a linebacker and what Ward and Tart do and, Hufanga now. So I don't know. He might make the team, but I would lean no right now. I would lean no, even with that interception. Let's see. Are we going to keep 3 tight ends? Probably. It'll probably, it's not what I would pick, but it will probably be Kittle, Dwelly, and Warner. Michael Pruitt is actually really good at run blocking, and Jordan Matthews has actually played really well, but I think that they're going to keep at least 3, maybe 4. It depends on who that's going to be. So who is going to be the punt returner? Great question, Chris. Absolutely great question. I think at this point it's got to be Simba Webster. Again, nothing against Richie James, and I'm not trying to pile on a guy who got injured, but unfortunately, there was not really much boom to the return game or any on either side, punt or kick. It seems like the 49ers started almost every single drive on the 25. So I would bet on Simba Webster, but then he has to make the team. When I did my 6 receivers, I did Debo, Ayuk, Sherfield, Sanu, Webster, and who's the other one? Goodness gracious, who am I missing? Jawan Jennings. But I think Webster makes it because of the punt returner. That's me not putting Jalen Hurts on this roster, knowing full well that Jalen Hurts probably going to be on this roster, especially if he comes out of this game healthy. So, do you think the two system is good or bad for Trey? That's a great question, CJ. That's what I've been worried about. If you really want the kid to develop, get him reps with live bullets with the full playbook. If not, then you're kind of becoming predictable, right? When Taysom Hill's on the field, 95% of the time, that's a run. So it may work for a little while, but people are going to start to figure that out. When they know that you're on the field, you've got to kind of switch it up. So, this is going to be interesting. I'm not going to tell you that I know better than Kyle Shanahan, but he has a plan. Let's see what he has to say. And he kind of at halftime talked about probably not with the 2 quarterback system, but what implies that, that might not be true, So, let's see. This is the one, Steve-O. Made it out of training camp fairly healthy. That's it. Realistically, that's it. A lot of people were worried, hey, Nick Bosa hasn't taken reps. Steve Ford hasn't taken reps. Don't matter. Get them to week 1. That's it. And get this team to week 1. This team is too loaded, too talented for anything other than that. So, relatively healthy and fairly healthy. Yes, amazing, because that has not been the trend recently with this team, no matter who the coach was at all. Okay? Don Burr, 28-13, week 1. Let's go, Don Burr. I like you talking that talk. That's what I'm talking about. Just don't disappear. I want to see you back week 2, man. All right. Mitch had great punts today. Great. Cool. Is that enough for your 4th rounder now? I don't know. Probably not. 49 Lakers, I wasn't talking about you regurgitating every analyst line. I was talking about, okay. Hey, no problem, bro. Didn't mean to come at you like that at all. Appreciate the donation, and I'm sorry for the misunderstanding. That's my bad. But are you still mad about the time Harbaugh slapped Schwartz? You think that's why Don Burr is out here in our comments? Is that what's going on with it? Is it the was that the last time No. The last time the Lions played the 49ers was in 2018. And that was the game where the 49ers were up a bunch and, they kind of creeped back into the game. But the 49ers have won the last 2 against the Lions. So, yep. Jason, should we be worried about special teams consistency? It would be nice to have a returner take the ball and give you advantageous field position, which is something I've been, worried about the entire time, and which is why the 49ers have seemed to prioritize it. When I was at camp, Brandon Ayuk was returning punts, Simba Webster was returning punts, Richie James was returning punts, River Craycraft was returning punts. All these guys, they're trying to figure it out, and I think they understand how important that is. So, it's not like it's something that I am just bringing up. Seems like the team is prioritizing it as well because, I keep pointing to the same game, the 2019 game against the Saints. Deontay Harris had a huge impact in that game. They were starting drives near midfield or on the other side of the field. That's important because now you're just 2 or 3 plays away from getting at least 3, and then you're talking about 7. So, I think that they are going to prioritize that. So, Jets wide receivers better than 49ers. I've been saying that since offense season. Didn't really get all that one. Nah, I wouldn't say that. I mean, listen, probably not going to find a bigger Jamison Crowder fan than myself. But Corey Davis is really good too. Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, Jamison Crowder, Denzel Mims, Keelan Cole. Maybe. I'll give you that, Jets game. Maybe. But I'll let them, go at you in the comments and talk about that. So let's see what else. Hurd, Haha, and Hasty all earned a spot in this game on the 53. I think Hurd did. Even with the drops, I think it was good for him to go through the entire game and be fine. I think that he understood that this was his last hurrah. So Hurd did. Haha, I don't think so. I'm still going to stick to the idea that I think Hasty ends up being a practice squad guy. So we'll see. But, you're probably not – you're not wrong. I'm not going to say that you're wrong on that. So let's see. Don't know if you stated this already, but what would you grade Trey's performance today? B. I mean, some of the things are still there, the high throws sometimes, but I think he's fine. And I think that continue to give him reps. He seems to get better, and he seems to get better under adversity. That's the thing that I continue to look at it with Trey Lance and be happy about. He'll throw an interception, come right back. Let's say he misses a pass, he comes right back. And that's really important because as a rookie, you don't want to see his confidence shattered at all. So I think that Trey Lance is too headstrong to let that happen. So let's keep going. We do have to understand it was Hurd's first game in 2 years. Yes, that's my point, though. That's exactly my point. 3rd round, first game in 3 years. Let's not act like he's some sort of savior. And he can go somewhere else and play, but I'm not going to sit here and cry over the fact that Jalen Hurd didn't make this roster. It's not like he's just going to end up being some sort of lost gem that becomes like a 1,000-yard receiver year after year. Has to prove that he can, 1, stay healthy, or 2, just even get on the field. So, yes, I will give him that, the context of it's his first game, but that's my point. This year 3, he's played 1 preseason game, caught 2 passes in practice, and now he's played a 2nd preseason game. That's my thing. So if he comes out of this healthy and they find a role for him, cool. But Juwan Jennings has kind of showed a little bit more in practice. He's actually shown the ability to get open and make tough catches, even though he had that drop today. I definitely remember that. But he has strong hands, and that's really not the norm with Jennings. So we'll see what happens. Trey actually scrambled. Okay. 49ers receivers have dropped 25% of Lance's passes. Literally between that and the 9 sacks he's taken, I can't put a grade on the kid. That's fair. Like I said, if they take 5 of those away, then his completion percentage changes drastically. And that's something that you need to remember. Hard to get a real, good grip on this, but yes, I agree with that. I would say that I've liked what I've seen from him. I think the kid is on the right path. I think that he's been doing things right. And then when you pair him with Kyle Shanahan, who's going to put him in all the advantageous spots, I think he'll be fine, honestly. All right, let's see. TJ Hawkinson will dominate you week 1. Meh, not too worried about it. Tyrell Williams, meh, not too worried about it, Dumper. We'll be all right. We know Tyrell Williams. He's been in the league a few years, so. Jason the Sherfield wide receiver 3 week 1. Yes, I don't see how it could be anybody else at this point. And just point to what happened today. When the ones ran out there and it was Deebo Samuel, who was the other guy ahead of him? Across from him, Trent Sherfield. That's exactly what you need to know. He's been open the entire camp. No matter who the quarterback is, they've been targeting him. I don't know if Arizona just misutilized him or just missed the evaluation, but this guy is much more than a special teams guy. Absolute diamond in the rough. This front office continues to find guys off of the street or teams that have discarded him and gotten things out of them. So I really like Trent Sherfield. So let's see. Do you think Lance's release has been contributing to the drops? No. I just think it's a concentration thing. A lot of those passes, the Richie James, they've been on point. And I don't necessarily agree with the old adage of getting 2 hands on the ball means you need to catch it, especially when you're leaving your feet at full extension. That's much more complicated. I understand they're NFL wide receivers and they should be making plays like that. I get that portion, but at the same time, you still have to put some onus on the quarterbacks. For instance, that Brandon Ayuk interception against the Chargers, Jimmy Garoppolo had a clean pocket, a clean window, and he still airmailed it. Ayuk should not have to reach up for that pass like that. Sorry, Jimmy Garoppolo, and you know that I'm not going to take shots at you like that. So, yeah, we're live. Sin, what's up? What's up, Sin? You wanna get in here and help me push the cut all kickers narrative and go for it on every fourth down? I'm with it. So, why do we waste reps on Sudfeld? Lance could have been getting those reps. Yes and no. I understand the sentiment because yes, Lance does need those reps, but you also want to make sure that he's good. You don't want to put him out there with those backups, Tom Compton at right guard, any of those things. That'll get a little hairy. At the same time, I see them keeping 3 quarterbacks one way or another with whether Sudfeld is going to be on the practice squad, because you have to remember we're still living in COVID land where if you're a close contact, that whole quarterback room goes. You can at least call Nate Sudfeld from home and tell him to come to the stadium and try to play in a game. But again, if you get down to your 3rd quarterback, your season is probably in more trouble than you want to admit. So I agree with the sentiment, but at the same time, let's get everybody healthy. Let's get them ready for week 1. And yeah, it's not about trying to get Sudfeld reps. It's more about somebody's got to take those reps and just end the game pretty much. So let's see. Trey hurt his finger, apparently. I did see that. He hit his head on a helmet. That was a little concerning, but he kind of just went through it. So let's just see. Fingers crossed. So I think they're being cautious with his finger. Yep, that would be smart. Worried about Lance. Looks really raw. Giving up 3 picks is looking really rough at this point. Yes and no. Again, I'm not really ready to make any proclamations after 3 preseason games. I like what I've seen. I see the vision. So I'm not going to say that. So it's hard to make that sort of statement with only just 3 preseason games. So for someone who missed most of the game, what was the biggest takeaway and best performance? The biggest takeaway is that right now, Kyle Shanahan is playing around with the league and his quarterback decision. Is it going to be Jimmy and Trey? Do you have to prepare for both? Dan Campbell right now is probably not sweating because he's not that bright. So he's probably just sitting there drinking a bunch of coffee thinking, yeah, we got a game plan for this. We're going to be fine. But any other smart defensive coordinator would be worried about what happens with this 2 quarterback system. So, Dan Campbell's going to puff his chest out and say some nonsense when he gets to the booth and say, yeah, we're going to play 60 minutes of football. We're going to knock people down and we're going to knock them down again. Yeah, smart. Yeah, nobody cares about that. That's not X's and O's. So nobody's worried about that. So, did you guys see the punter? He flipped the field a few times. Game changer. I love you guys. This is so much fun, honestly. Kyle has been playing. This is a good one. Kyle's been playing with Niners fans' feelings since he traded up. Stop putting us through this pain. No, Kyle Shanahan does not care. He's the ultimate troll. I love it. I think it's funny. I'm done trying to sift through all this. After draft season, I am completely worn out trying to figure out what his plans are. I think it's funny. I think that NFL teams are sweating right now trying to figure out what he's doing because I think that NFL teams understand the position that Trey Lance is in and how Kyle Shanahan can lift quarterbacks. I mean, you watch Nick Mullins literally throw for as many passing yards, I think, as like Andrew Luck and Patrick Mahomes, and then go somewhere else and be awful. So Kyle Shanahan, when he's presented with this sort of talent, imagine the upside. Imagine that. So I think that the NFL is really, really, really sweating right now at this point when it comes to that. So Jimmy as wide receiver 1, Trey at H-back, Mosa New at quarterback. Woo! That's fire. Mosa New might be the best quarterback on his roster. Maybe. The best quarterback in Atlanta Falcons history. Look it up. Highest passer rating on over 5 passes. That's Mosa New. That's not a joke. That's actually something you should go look up. So what do you think about the 2 QB system? It's not my way. I wouldn't. Got to pick one, pick the other, rip the Band-Aid off if it's not Jimmy. Get the kid reps, get them in rhythm. But at the same time, I'm not going to go against what Kyle Shanahan wants to do. If he thinks he can make it work and he thinks he can put pressure on defenses that way, then go for it. I'm just a guy. I'm not somebody who knows better than him. So let's just see what happens. So in his postgame, Kyle Shanahan said the QB shuffle will be an option for the 49ers this season. The league better watch out. Yes, he's going to play that completely. So he, in one breath, at one press conference says, yes, he has a subset of packages. And then, I'm not going to. Yeah, Kyle Shanahan's playing with everybody. He wants to make teams prepare for both, and he wants to scare teams in that way. So I think that's really what he's doing. As usual, it's not up to Kyle Shanahan to tell you anything or to dispel any narratives, especially when it's advantageous to his game planning and the success of his team. So when am I going to go live with Brad? Brad Graham is too Hollywood for me. He doesn't want to go live with me. He's at the game, right now. And yeah, he just doesn't want to go live with me. Brad, if you're out there, I'd love to go live with you again, buddy. Just stop big timing me. I'm just a humble podcaster. Okay. Ryu Ken, there won't be a 2-quarterback system. The beat reporter asked him at halftime, and Shanny said he's just trying in a preseason. There won't be 2 quarterbacks when the real season starts. Maybe Kyle's just lying. Kyle hasn't all the way been truthful this entire offseason or when he talks to the press. I mean, he's literally told people, why should I name a starter? Well, how does that help me in any way? Why should he tell you anything about this? Why should he keep giving you the same answer over and over? I don't know. I kind of believe that there is going to be a subset of plays for Trey Lance, particularly in the red zone, which Kyle Shanahan has alluded to out of his own mouth in press conferences. Daniel says, Tart looked great today. Yes. Exciting. Everybody swore that Tart, they threw dirt on his grave, but the plan was the entire time for him not to be at camp, get ready for week 1. The fact that he played today, kind of hobbled off, and then went back out there and played a little bit more makes me feel really good. Let's just watch the reports and find out what's going on with him. But I don't think that people understand how good Tart is and what he brings to the table. It's more about his injury history than anything. No one can deny that when Jaquiski Tart is on the field, that he doesn't have an impact and he's not a baller. So that's the thing. This is a classic Kyle deception. Yes, Zach, absolutely. Kyle is good with keeping people in the dark. Doesn't care what anybody ever says. So, Jason, honesty, aponte. It's honestly. Honestly is the word that I say over and over. Honestly. It's either honestly, and I'm very well aware of it. You guys let me know on YouTube all the time. So it's not always easy to just continuously talk without having words that chain things together. So yeah, honestly is definitely one of my biggest words that I use over and over. So yeah, definitely. Let's see. Thoughts on people saying to start Trey over Jimmy week 1? I don't understand. Love to start when he's ready. Too risky to start him when he has a couple of drop picks per game, but that's just me. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I always believe that Kyle Shanahan always had a plan of Jimmy Garoppolo starting because that is safer. And also, conspiracy theory time, let's put the tinfoil hat on. No one will blame him for starting Jimmy Garoppolo early, at least in the media, but it also gives him more time with Trey. So if you put Trey out there and he starts to sputter, then the chatter gets louder. If you sit him for as long as you do, then you have more time and you get more leeway, if that makes any sense. So we'll see. But I just love what Trey Lance brings to this offense. You saw it a little bit on that zone read where Hurd was going in motion. He's holding the ball, that attacking all 4 principles, and then just walking into the end zone because the defense is flat-footed. I understand that the Raiders didn't start anybody of note today, but at the same time, that's what you can expect from starters as well, too. That's what the run game brings, and that's what Trey Lance brings with his own legs and his arms. So let's keep going. Why is Hasty 4th string? Dude should back up Mostert. Trey Sermon is too high of draft capital. Remember, Hasty's an undrafted free agent. I know that you shouldn't evaluate players based on their draft capital, but it's kind of how the league goes. That's why Jalen Hurd keeps getting every single opportunity to make this roster. Find yourself a job where your boss says you can call out every weekend, but he keeps you and he keeps sticking with you, like Jalen Hurd has. So let's see. Let's keep going. Based on what you've seen from all the rookie quarterbacks, do you believe Trey is still the right pick that Kyle made? I personally do, but a lot of people are losing hope. Again, I've kind of said it a few times. I'm not ready to make any sort of assessment like that after 3 preseason games. Justin Fields has had some high moments. He's had some low moments where the game is a little bit too fast for him. Mac Jones is Mac Jones. I think we all kind of understood what he was going to be, and I think he's showing that. He's not really doing anything that anybody didn't really think he could. Trevor Lawrence is Trevor Lawrence today. If you guys didn't have a chance to watch him against Dallas, he made some throws today. I don't think that anybody can dispute that. It's hard for me to make a decision right now based on a few preseason games. But again, this draft class, they all will be compared to each other. That's what's going to be happening. So we'll see. I don't even know what our RB depth chart looks like, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, we're going to see. We're going to see real quick. So, and yes, to anyone who's in Louisiana, please be safe. The word is that Ida is a lot more impactful than Katrina was, and that's a scary thought. So, I hope everybody over there is safe, and I hope that everything just blows over. So, do you think we should cut Jalen Hurd after 2 years of being injured and now not doing anything this game? I've kind of been on board with that. Literally the freest engagement on Twitter is Jalen Hurd practice today. And people throw confetti and here we go, it's happening. That's just a practice, and that's the thing. And again, I hate to keep harping on it. You could have had Terry McLaurin. Sorry. Okay. Trey is still raw. He's not throwing strikes. Also, he needs to throw the right ball for the situation he's in. As we're all seeing, I'd be cool if he's solid by year end and top 5 by year 3. Yes. And Keith, this is the most level-headed take that I've seen in a while. I think that because people see a third pick, that he automatically has to be good. Picture Josh Allen. What if the Buffalo Bills, after year 2, said, man, I'm tired of this guy airmailing throws. I'm tired of this guy throwing interceptions, and didn't stick with him to get that year 3 breakout? I think that the timetable on quarterbacks has changed because of Josh Rosen. Let me explain. Josh Rosen goes up high. They're bringing a new regime. He goes. They bring in their guy, Kyler Murray. Now everybody's evaluation of quarterbacks is sped up. That's why you hear about the Dolphins being in on Deshaun Watson over Tua. You invested that pick in Tua, but Deshaun Watson's out there, and now you're ready to move off of him. So I think that that's a very fair way to look at it, and that's how people should be looking at it. What you should be looking from Trey Lance in 1 year is growth. You should be at the end of the year saying this kid's on the right path. He doesn't have to be top 5 by year 1. He just needs to be on that trajectory and getting better. And that's really what 49er fans should be focused on. Not so much about, man, he needs to automatically be better than this guy or be better than this guy. You just want to see progression. You want to see a guy who is improving and on the right trajectory to get there, because you do want your pick 3 to be top 5 in the league. So don't be sorry. We could have had Terry McLaurin. Yeah, that one I'm not going to let go. I'm not letting that one go for a while. And I'm never going to let that one go. If you think I'm really in on the Mitch Wisnowski thing, Terry McLaurin was right there to be picked, and Jalen Hurd was picked. Terry McLaurin's a baller. And think about this. This is the cascading effect of it. When you miss on one pick and you miss out on a Terry McLaurin, now you have to double back and draft somebody else. I love Brandon Ayuk, but they could have had Terry McLaurin and then taken an impact player maybe on defense or on the offensive line later on. I love Brandon Ayuk. I'm not saying that I don't want him on the team. I'm just saying that when you miss on picks, there's a cascading effect, and you're trying to go back with an eraser and fix things, and that's the problem when you miss on picks as well too. So let's keep going. Thank you guys for being here again. For everybody that's watching, please like the video, subscribe for all of the content as well too. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. This is we've got almost 220 people in here watching, so this is really cool. Is Dante Johnson still on the team? Is the sky blue? The answer is yes. And he definitely didn't dress today. There's your answer. Death, taxes, Dante Johnson will be on this roster. No questions asked. Jesse, I'm not playing with you. I'm going to block you soon. I love the Man Bear Pig avatar. I think it's hilarious. I know exactly what you're going for. But can we stop with this punter thing? It's killing me right now. CJ Crucial, it seems like a lot of people were degrading Sermon because of his rough start against the Chiefs, but he looked a lot more explosive today. What was your thoughts on Sermon? I think that he is the profile workhorse back that the 49ers have not had since A1 Frank Gore. I'm not comparing him to Frank Gore, but there's a guy who you can give 15, 18, 20 reps to and not look back. Of course, Jesse, I know, man. Absolutely, man. I'm having fun with the punter thing. That's going to be a joke for the rest of the year, then I'm good with it, because I need to move my shtick from Jerick McKinnon as quarterback 1 to something else. So I guess it'll be this. This is what we're going for. Maybe I should get some T-shirts that say "Cut all kickers, go for it on every 4th down." So, did Dio Lenore play better than Thomas today? Yes, today, yesterday, 2 weeks ago, every day, every single day. Demo's better than Ambry Thomas right now. I mean, that's not really close, and that's not subjective. That is completely objective. So this is a good one too. Death, taxes, and Tom Compton. Tom Compton's going to be on this roster as well too. We had to do our 53-man projection, and what I would do is not what is going to be done. Tom Compton is one of Shaney's guys, and he will be on this roster. I promise you. And if I'm wrong, then I'm happy to be wrong on this one for sure. Let's see. Did you see that Thomas fake tackle? That was horrible. Yeah, that was really bad. Not covering now not tackling. Not good. Again, these are the things that we saw in camp when we were there. Unfortunately, I don't want to overreact, right? Because plenty of guys pan out when they pan out, but 3rd round pick, you got to get more, because Demo's doing way more, and he wasn't a 3rd round pick. And Demo was profiled as a slot receiver. but he's clamping on the outside now. It's rough. I think that the 49ers draft should only just start in the 5th round right now at this point. That's how good they're doing in the 5th round. So, but yeah, Sermon's contact balance showed today. Yep, definitely did. And that's what kind of leads me to the Frank Gore comp. Low, hit him. He's still up and he's running. So, yep. Can the timeline get off McGlinchey's ass this year? O-liners look good. Hey, don't tell me, Jim. Again, with McGlinchey, it's the trap position, who they thought they should have had. And when he misses and whiffs on blocks, it's in big situations. So it's overblown. Mike McGlinchey is an elite run blocker. Elite. It's just that fans are frustrated right now that he hasn't taken that step in pass pro. But you can't be mad at a guy for being who he is. At that point, you have to kind of direct it to the people who drafted him and thought that they could develop him a little bit more. So I don't think they ever will, just because of those things that I mentioned. But I agree with you 100%. I think that he is much better than he's given credit for at this point. Okay, see what we got here. Sermon will be solid. That Thomas whiff was like the Minnesota Miracle 2.0. Whew. I want him to be good. I really do, because the 49ers have not drafted and developed a cornerback ever. I mean, everybody else that they've gotten, they got Verrett. Mosley was an undrafted free agent, so let's see. Jason, Gallman, Hasty, or Mitchell. Do I have to pick one? If I have to pick one, Gallman's the safest, in my opinion. Then it becomes down to Hasty and Mitchell, I think, at this point. Again, this regime, they care about pass pro. Gallman does that. And I think that he's going to be the guy, I think. Frank, thanks for the donation. Appreciate you. Overall assessment on Jalen Hurts today. He played. That's big. I mean, again, a lot of the things that he did and when he was open was because of the play call. And again, in camp, he wasn't separating. He didn't have explosion. That's the stuff that I'm worried about, right? Because it was the back before, now it's the knee. He'll probably make this roster, but, I'm happy that he played and made it through the game, and they gave him every opportunity. They were force-feeding him the ball, which is a little bit goes into Trey Lance's assessment too. Seemed like they were telling him, hey, here's your first read, hit him, and make sure he gets the ball so you can see what he can do. That's not really letting the kid develop, in my opinion. So let's see. Niner Sickness, appreciate you, my guy. Everybody support my boy, smashing that like. Yes, please do. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. Going to be plenty of content coming. I'm out in Philly for the week 2 game. I'm out at the home opener for the week 3 game. So the content's going to pick up. Got some really cool things planned for you guys as far as roundtables with predictions when we get down to the season starting. So yeah, please do subscribe. So J-Bro Games. My boy J-Bro. What's up, man? I see you in Philly, bro. Which receivers make the team? In my opinion, it should be Debo, Ayuk, Sanu, Sherfield, Webster, Jennings. But Jalen Hurts is going to make this roster probably, especially if he's going to be fine after the game. So let's see. Zach, you just passed 3K subs? Yeah, I did, man. That's pretty cool. I'm really excited about that. That has a lot to do with the coverage over at camp and the joint practices. So yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. It's really, really humbling to know that you guys support like that. So maybe I should make a trip over to Philly for yes, Zach. Yes, Zach. Thomas needs to sit and learn. That year off from opting out of stunt his development. He has the traits. Agreed. 100%. Good way to look at it, Jesse. And I hope that that's what it is. I really do. But I go back to what I watched on his Michigan tape. I saw these things popping up on there as well. But I was just kind of like blinded by, okay, punt returner, receiver in high school, good with the ball in his hands, bit of a ball hawk. But unfortunately, when he gets beat, in college, when you tackle a guy for a PI, it's only 15 yards. It's not a spot foul. So, Spy Nick Danger. Nick, I met Nick in LA, man. That was really awesome, man. Appreciate the love, man. That was awesome for you to, come by and give me those kind words. Appreciate you a lot, man. So, favorite pop behind me. And yeah, we're already at 50 minutes. So I think we're kind of close to wrapping it up. Favorite pop behind me. Oh, man. I got to grab it down, actually, because it's at the top. It's going to be my guy, man. I was actually able to get this on pre-order and make sure I got it. But, this whole top row right here is all Batman stuff because Batman's the GOAT. But George Kittle, it's the George Kittle one for me. Appreciate that. Bruce, Thanks for your content. Hope to see you one day. Have a good one. Yes, absolutely. Appreciate you for saying that. So, Scott, put Hurt on IR. Let his knee heal until week 8. If he looks fast and confident, then replace him, whatever the worst guy is. If not, deuces. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just, again, they're going to give him every opportunity. He's a 3rd-round pick. They've got to make it work. Otherwise, that looks like a serious oversight. So, yes. Favorite actor is Batman. This one's going to get me canceled. Ben Affleck. Let me explain. Batman vs. Superman is a terrible movie. Every movie that he's been in is a terrible movie. But his representation in Batman vs. Superman is too close to The Dark Knight Returns and exactly what they were going for. Old, grizzled Batman who doesn't care anymore. He's jaded. He's been through a lot of things. He's a bit of an alcoholic. That was perfect, but the movie stinks. So Ben Affleck will never get his flowers. Ben Affleck is the best Batman on screen. Christian Bale tried to do too much with the voice. Michael Keaton is close second, but for everybody who says that Ben Affleck kills, go back and watch any of those other Batman movies. I literally watched Michael Keaton strap a bomb to a clown and kill him. I literally watched Christian Bale not save Ra's al Ghul. So every single Batman killed. It's just that Ben Affleck did it in an egregious way. So, yeah, and Martha, exactly. And you know what? Maybe Robert Pattinson's going to be the best Batman. I would not disagree with that. So, yeah. I think that's it, guys. I think I've answered everything. Again, like this video, subscribe. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Thank you guys for all the support and following on Twitter as well, too. It means a lot to me. I'm super honored and humbled. And I can't wait to continue to bring the content to you guys. The season is right around the corner. This next week is going to be flooded with Sprint Right Option podcast, a few other guest appearances and things like that. So this is going to be a lot of fun. The season's here. The team is relatively healthy. I have good feelings for this 49ers team. I'm just going to stick with my 12-5 prediction, which means they win the division. I think it's going to be fascinating to find out how this quarterback thing plays out and how this team moves forward. So thank you guys, and I appreciate you, and we'll check you out next time. All right, I'm going to leave you with our newest video as well. So welcome, everybody. Let's go Niners. My name is Jason Aponte.